Okay, question 15. In question 15, we're trying to prove that the cube of an odd number is an odd number. Now, any odd number can be written as 2n plus 1, where n is an integer, because if you times any integer by 2, you immediately get an even number. So 2n is an even number. But then if you add 1 to an even number, you get an odd number. So 2n plus 1 is always an odd number. So 2n plus 1 cubed can be the cube of an odd number. Okay. So this is effectively what we're trying to prove is now odd. Okay, so if we expand this, we can see what we get. Okay, now if you've done chapter 8 on the binomial expansion, you may be able to expand this in a quick way, but if you haven't yet done that, or I'll assume you haven't yet done that, so I will just expand it by writing the bracket out 3 times, and doing 2 brackets at a time. So I'll do the first 2 times by the last one. So the first 2 then, 2n times 2n, 4n squared, 1 times 2n, 2n, 1 times 2n is 2n, and 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, I'll just tidy that up a little bit. So we have 4n squared plus 4n plus 1, and then the last 2n plus 1 bracket there. Okay, this time then multiply the long bracket by the shorter bracket, so we've got to be a bit careful, but anyway, we've got 4n squared times by 2n, so that's going to be 8n cubed. 4n squared times by the 1, it's just 4n squared. Moving on to the second term here, we've got 4n times by the 2n, so that's 8n squared. Then 4n times by the 1, so that's just 4n. And lastly, we've got 1 times the 2n and 1 times the 1. Okay. Do any tidying up we need to do? Well, there's only one of the n cubed terms, so that's 8n cubed. 2 of the n squared terms, so 4n squared plus 8n squared, that's 12n squared. 4n plus 2n is 6n, and then plus the 1. Now, remember, any odd number can be written in this form 2n plus 1. So 2 times something plus 1. So if I can take a factor of 2 out of 8n cubed plus 12n squared plus 6n, then I will be left with 2 times something plus this 1. So, can I do that? Well, I certainly can. So what we're going to have is 2 times by 4n cubed there to make the 8n cubed. 2 times by the 6n squared there to make back to 12n squared. And 2 times the 3n there to make it back equivalent to the 6n. So 2 times all of that is equivalent to that. So the 2 red sections now are equivalent. Copy down the plus 1. And we have something of this form, 2 times something plus 1. Okay, and if you really want to simplify that, you could say that's equal to 2m plus 1, okay, where m equals 4n cubed plus 6n squared plus 3n, and if n itself is an integer, then 4 times an integer cubed plus 6 times an integer squared plus 3 times an integer is itself going to be an integer. Whole numbers involved in all this is going to result in a whole number, so we're going to have 2 times a whole number plus 1, which is odd. So we can say, therefore, the cube of an odd number is odd.